All right, so today we're going to focus on real estate investing. I've got Jim Manning coming on. Jim's a real estate broker out of St. Louis, Missouri. He has a team of 40 people. He's also a big time investor. He's got a portfolio of about $30 million that he's bought over the last several years. And he's raising money to buy even more. So one thing he does that's very interesting is he uses lease options, and it's something I think you're going to want to hear about. So make sure you check out the video and give us a like while you're there. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Joe Killinger. I've been a real estate entrepreneur for 20 plus years, and I use this channel to bring people on like Jim to really walk us through their path to success. And I think today's going to be a great one for you. So again, check out the video, give us a like while you're there, and if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe. Jim, I think it's a perfect day to have you on the show with the stock market where it's at, and we're looking at a potential 3/4 point bump here in the next day or two. I think it's a good time to be talking about the future of real estate investing. So thank you for coming on today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Glad to be on, Joe.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me on.
So now you're based out of St. Louis, correct?
Yeah, St. Louis. We run a real estate team as far as agents go. We're like a top 100 team nationally out of Keller Williams. And then we have an acquisition team. You know, we average in between, I think in our heyday, we got up to like 300 deals in a year. Last year, all told, we cleared 600 deals between the different entities that we have. But yeah, we've been doing a very high volume since 2014 or so.
Right.
So the last getting on a decade now. I feel like I'm getting old, I guess. I don't know, like the whole late 30s, getting on 40s. You know, I've been investing since I was 23 years old. So it's been a minute.
All focused on in the St. Louis market?
Yeah, all in the St. Louis market. Now, St. Louis is on the river, so there's Missouri and Illinois. So we are in two states, but it's all kind of in the St. Louis metropolitan area for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we're going to see some changes. I think we both can agree. You know, I think going forward with interest rates going up the way they are, there's a lot of buzz around if tomorrow we do get a bump up of 3/4 point. How do you think that's going to affect the real estate market and investing market?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple things with this changing marketplace. I mean, the first thing that I would like you guys to just know and understand is when we started out in 2008, people looked at me and they said, "Oh, you guys are crazy. The market's tanking. Why would you get into real estate?"
Yeah.
And what I learned about that is that there are deals and there's money to be made in every single market.
Right.
The hustle changes. The hustle in that market wasn't finding the deal. There was actually a lot of good deals out there. It was selling the property. In this market that we're getting out of, in the hyper sellers market, you know, potentially the biggest sellers market of our lifetimes, right? The hustle was finding the deal. And so, like, I mean, you can only control what you can control. But the investing in real estate is, you know, I'm very fond of it. I'm fond of what it's done for my family. I know what it's done for countless others. You know, it's one of the most secure, safe investment vehicles that you possibly can do. And just because of the market and kind of where it's at and some of the conditions doesn't mean that it's not time to buy real estate. Doesn't mean that it's time to just sit on the fences and wait. Doesn't mean that there's not opportunities out there. There's absolutely good buys out there that you can do and invest on.
Yeah. What are you guys doing to make this to evolve into this next phase?
Yeah, so for us, I think the timeline of what you're doing, you know, of how long you're holding on to these deals is important. We are really viewing this as a great opportunity to buy, and our exit strategy, you know, is 10 plus years. We're doing a lot of buy and holds right now.
Okay.
When you don't have to be so perfect, and you know, if your exit strategy is the long term, you really, if you buy it with solid fundamentals, like, and you hold on to it for a while, you know, like back in the day, if you look at a chart on what the median home sale prices were back in 2006, like you'd be pretty happy if you bought 100 houses in 2006 if you still own them today,
Right.
because the home prices are a lot higher than they were back in 2006, right? So, I mean, the biggest thing I would say is like just make sure you're, if you're doing a flip, I think that's completely okay. Like I would be a little more conservative. I try and buy it a little bit lower than what maybe people have been buying it at in the last 12 to 18 months. Um, but like even when the in 2006 to 2008, when the market was plummeting, like we still made some money on flips. It was harder to make money then than it was in the last couple of years, but we still did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys starting to contact banks, or are you expecting that you're going to have foreclosures, and your focus is single family residential mostly
It
investments?
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Okay. And
Yeah,
so you're
yeah,
talking
it's
to banks?
inevitable. There's going to be more foreclosures. That's especially with the last couple of years, the prices that some people were buying, right? That is an inevitable thing. And that doesn't mean that we're back in 2006 either, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think that there's this big foreclosure wave. We've done a lot of research on this, and the dynamics are just completely different than what they were back in '06. So um, so I mean, as far as targeting like in our lead sources, um, like it's interesting. There one year the highest year we ever had on paying for lead generation, we spent over $300,000 on direct mail, and that wasn't our number one lead source. We spent all that money on it, and Sphere referrals networking was our top lead source. That's where we made the most money. So
Yeah.
so there's something about networking and just building relationships that is really powerful. So so that's one of our main levers, and we do a lot of prospecting. We'll do texting and cold calling, as well. The list. Those are really our main.
Do you have a solid email program, I'm assuming, in place as well?
Sorry, Joe, you cut out there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you have a good email program that you put out as well, every couple of weeks or month or something like that?
Yeah, we'll send out blasts. Like we don't wholesale like a crazy amount of properties, but we do a little bit. So we'll send out blasts for those, and then we do a lot of. We have like a monthly happy hour that we do, that we kind of just focus on connecting with individuals as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you guys doing a lot of Airbnb listings, or are you just out to, minimum length is 1 year on your leases? How are you guys leasing your properties out?
Yeah, so we do a lot with lease purchases.
Oh, okay.
We had over 10 vacation rentals, and this was around, we were making the pivot before COVID hit, that we just decided that lease purchase is like the best fit for us. And then and then when COVID hit, that obviously made the vacation rentals, travel kind of evaporated overnight
Yeah.
there for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So we've kind of gotten out of that market. And what's funny is, like, if I was newer listening in, I might hear a comment like that and be like, well, oh man, that means no vacation rentals for me, because this guy's been doing this 13 years and he's done over 3,500 deals and all that, and he's saying that. There's an analogy I heard one time that I really like, and it's about a laser compared to a sun. Have you ever heard that one, Joe?
No, I have not.
Okay, so think about how many millions of, is it kilowatts? What's the energy unit that people like?
We'll go with kilowatt. We're in real
Kilowatts.
estate.
Yeah,
We're not
I'm
supposed to
going.
know that stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to Back to the Future here. Kilowatt. But it takes millions to heat the earth. The earth, like the sun, has to produce millions and millions of kilowatts, in quotation marks. Don't judge me. I was on a sidebar. I was on a training the other day. I was like, for our team, and I wrote the word dual, and I had to ask the team. I was like, did I spell that right? So I do this a lot, unfortunately. But then a laser, think about it. A laser that's that focused, it can literally burn through metal, and it only takes a few kilowatts,
Yep.
because it's that hyper focused. And one of the secrets with business and being an entrepreneur, and one of the biggest reasons why so many entrepreneurs fail, is they try and be the sun
Yeah.
when you really only need to be a laser. So, like, if you're going to do Airbnbs, that's fantastic, and focus on Airbnbs. If you're going to do lease purchases, that's great. Focus on them, get into that niche. And when you get into the niche, what's amazing is then you can develop relationships with other people that are doing different niches, and you can send referrals back and forth, and you can grow each other's businesses. When you try and be the son, that's what, or the jack of all trades, is another
Yeah.
kind of term for it. That's when I see a lot of failures happen, and somebody might say, "Oh, well, look at Amazon, though. Look at all the stuff they do, or look at all the stuff Google does, or these other big companies." And Amazon, when they started out, guys, they tried
Well,
to sell books online,
yeah,
and that was it. That
yeah,
was it. So
yeah,
some of these bigger entities and success stories that you see, they didn't start out being the sun. They started out
yeah.
being a laser. They got good at one core competency, and then okay, now you have more team members in place. Now you can branch out and whatnot. But so we made a decision that our focus was, for us, what was best for us in our marketplace, was lease purchases, and part of it was we just wanted to get really good at it, rather than be a little bit more spread out on Airbnbs. And you
Well, I
didn't
think,
think that
yeah.
that question was going to lead to me on my soapbox for 10 minutes, did you, Joe?
No, but I think it's key, Jim. I think, if you're doing Airbnb, you better know it, and you better be, I talked to I kind of got in trouble with a guy because I said, I think Airbnbs in certain areas are in trouble because if you're putting an Airbnb out in an area that's not tourist driven, or it's not, on a coast, it's gonna be a trouble. And so he was a big Airbnb guy. And he just called me 2 weeks ago. He goes, you called it right. He goes, ours that are just kind of, we're average or just not getting leased out. I'm probably gonna have to sell them. And so, but if you're focused, you have your business plan. I'm gonna be in these areas because this is driving people to come to this area. You can do okay still. You can
Yeah.
do fine, but
Well,
you
and
have
think
to have a
about it.
plan.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like when you think about it, like we were so busy doing all these deals, we had to hire a property management company
Yeah,
to do that for us, and that really hurt our profit margins. And the company was fantastic. I'd recommend them to anybody.
yeah,
And for us to like compared to a company that's just doing Airbnbs, they're self-managing, they have all their systems dialed in. I mean, it's awfully hard to compete,
yeah,
from like a company that's set up like us, and like a company that's just focused on that one thing.
yeah.
They can do it better than we can, or than what we did, I should say, right? So,
Well, and they've got the team in place, right? You've got to have that
mhm,
team around you. When you're an entrepreneur, you start something, you're kind of doing everything. Well, at some point, if you really want to grow, you've got to find the right people to have around you. I think it's going to be interesting. I'd like to touch on this lease option thing. Now, how did you guys get started? You just think, okay, let's collect rent for a while. Then if they get up to a certain level, then we'll give them a contract to purchase the house, or how did you guys get started?
yeah. So I'm a huge believer in masterminds. I've met some amazing people in different masterminds, and it's got to, guys, it's got to be a true mastermind, not a hey, you sit in a room with 1,000 people. It's really, that's like a conference. A mastermind is like you have 10 people, you're in a room, you talk about all your dirty laundry, and everybody talk, like
Yeah,
not the oh hey, I'm good today type of thing, like the hey,
yeah,
what's actually happening
mhm,
in your world, right?
yeah,
And anyway, I was at a mastermind with Jason Courtney, who's now a business partner with us, for 3 years, and he was doing that strategy. And I guess Ryan Wessels is the co-founder of our business with me. He's, another business partner, and I guess we're dense or something. But he was talking about how good these deals were for like 3 years, and then finally, like the light bulb went off. We're like, oh, okay, we should maybe do this. And we're known for like scaling and kind of like kind of scaling ideas and scaling businesses at a really high level. And Jason was more of like an artist that was really good at his craft, but didn't necessarily know how to build a business, right? And so we decided to kind of partner together, and things have been going gangbusters. We're really blessed. We're in a good spot.
yeah.
This is a couple of years ago when that happened.
No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love to hear those stories. Yeah, it's amazing how we can all sit, right, and there's this idea right in front of us, and it takes a while for it to really sink in. And so, and also my
Yeah, isn't that
father's
funny?
advice. That's the older I get, the smarter he gets. But it's something.
Yeah.
Now, how do you set up your lease options? How long do you give them, or does it on every deal? Is it deal by deal basis, or how do you do it?
Yeah, so we have like a program where we kind of modified it on our own. We like to give them 3 years to get their full down payments. and then we'll actually we'll owner finance them for another 30 years plus on ours. So we're really viewing a lot of these purchases as 30-year plus windows. So our program's a little different. We have a lot. I don't think I'd do it the way I did if I was more just starting out.
Yeah.
Like we have we have several, we've raised several $1 million, and we have a lot of stuff that we're doing, but I would probably do more like a 5 to 10% upfront down payment if I was just starting out, require that, and then and then either they end up buying it or they don't, and you just put somebody else in there, right?
Right.
But yeah, so that's how we have it set up, and
Okay.
yeah, it's going really well.
Yeah. Dan, did you guys set up is this your money you're using, or do you partner with a bank?
Yeah, so we have a bank that we use, and then we put like 20% down. We're in the process of setting up a real estate fund that we're going to kind of do this into. That right now it's in legal right now, and then we're going to be raising a bunch more money for it over the next few months. But yeah, so we're going to be raising about 50 million for it, and we're going to buy about 100 million in real estate over the next 3 years is
Okay.
what we're targeting. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How are you sourcing your properties? Just contacts, your emails?
Yeah, I mean,
your
I'd love to tell you,
postcards?
like, it's this secret magic thing that like some of the marketers will show you on Facebook videos on those sponsored ads, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's networking, dialing, and texting.
Yeah.
That's all we do.
It's
That's all we do, guys.
when we bring in, we're recruiting. I'm in a commercial brokerage here in Los Angeles, and
Mm-hmm.
when we're recruiting somebody that they're coming from residential, or they're coming from property management, or another aspect of the industry, and they're a little intimidated by commercial, I go, it's really not that difficult. It's all learnable, but the work ethic. We tell them, if I can't scare the shit out of them, it's 8:30 to 5:30. Yeah, if they're willing. I said it's going to be 8:30 to 5:30 the first 18 to 24 months. I can guarantee you that. A lot of them we don't hear back from, but the ones that do, this business is a great business. It's not hard. It's learnable, but you got to find a good mentor. Dad, did you start off with a mentor?
So when I started, and it's funny as people hear the 600 deals we did last year, and like, don't judge yourself if you're just starting out to what I did last year. Judge yourself to my first year, and I'll tell you what I did in my first year. I did 0 deals in my first year real estate.
Yeah.
0. You know what I did is, this was before podcasts. God, man, this is making me feel really old, even though I don't think I'm that old.
Happens.
But I guess in real estate I feel old. So I did 0 deals. So I got some CDs that taught you how to rehab houses.
Right.
So I bought a couple online courses, like a $9.97 thing. And I bought a couple books, and I read it. I did research, and I researched, and I was in that procrastination. Like, I was excusing it as I was learning, but I was really just procrastinating doing anything. And I was just in this learning loop. And the thing is like, if you don't apply knowledge, it's a form of entertainment. You're not, like, you can't really know something until you do it. Like, it'd be the same thing as like if Michael Jordan just read a book on shooting free throws and never shot a free throw.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if he's potentially the best NBA player in the world. If he doesn't actually get into the game and shoot free throws, he's never going to be any good at it. So in my first year, that's where I was at. I was procrastinating, and the excuse was I needed to learn more. And I didn't get around anybody because I felt like I didn't want to be the guy that was new in the room, and I wasn't secure enough in myself to admit that I didn't know anything.
Right.
And I didn't want someone else to view me as like, oh, that's a newbie, and he doesn't know anything, and there's no value there.
Yeah.
And that was a hard lesson to learn, how much I failed in that first year. And then in the second year, I got around. So Ryan, my now business partner, he was really a deal partner of mine. I guess somehow intuitively I realized I was just so scared of losing my shirt and losing money that I just couldn't pull the trigger on anything without anybody.
It's hard.
So exactly. So I talked to a coworker, and then Ryan found us a deal. He wholesaled it to us. We had been high school buddies, and we were coaching baseball together at the time. And then my coworker and I kind of paid for half of it and kind of bought it. And we did that first deal, and we made a little bit of money. I remember having 10 grand in my bank account at that point, because that's, we made 20 on our first deal. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm rich. I got 10,000 bucks in my bank account. I'm doing this thing. So I quit my job and I got into real estate, but I had that proof that, money hit my bank account.
Yeah.
But it really, really, Joe, it held me back, man. And not being strong enough. Now that I'm getting middle-aged, or I am middle-aged, there's a saying that strength is in vulnerability. I wasn't strong enough to be vulnerable and admit that I needed help. So I'd be a whole 18 months further along in my career had I just said, hey, I need help. I have time. I'm willing to work. I'll make you money. Somebody that's more seasoned. I'll make you money. I'll bird dog. I'll do whatever it takes. We just, kind of take me under your wing.
Yeah. The first, having a mentor, I kind of went through just like you did. It was very hard. That first one, it was tough, and it ended up being a home run. Second one, not so much. I think, ego got the best of me going, hey, this isn't that hard. And then I bought a 3-story walk up in a lower income area. Yeah, it killed me. And couldn't keep it rented.
And I did all sorts of silly stuff. Like one time we bought a red barn and we valued the house at price per square foot, but I ignored that it was a red barn. And then when I didn't get the price I wanted, I was like, well, what's going on? And then the feedback, oh, I don't want to live in a red barn. Oh, okay, well that makes sense. So look, somehow we broke even on that one, right? So there's it's funny how in hindsight it's that should be common sense. But it's actually when you're in the middle of it trying to figure it out, there's just all sorts of little details like that you just don't think about or you miss. And you can either learn it from a mentor or a coach, or you can learn it the hard way and potentially lose money on deals or break even and lose a lot of time on stuff. So either way, you're going to be paying for it. I mean, I prefer to do it the easy way, which is getting the right mentor, right?
Yeah, and finding the right mentor, somebody you can bring value to, and it's really key. But now, how many assets do you have right now that you guys own?
So right now I don't know the door count. The value, is right about 28 million in single families. It's right around 28 million. I think door count can be misleading, because it's somebody could own one door and have it be worth someone else's 30 doors or whatever, right? Just depending on the location and the price point, everything like that. But so I'm in St. Louis. As a Midwestern, average price point hovers around 200, depending on the year, right? And so it's a decent amount of doors. Yeah,
that's good. That's great. And you have your own management now, correct?
We do. Some of it we do, and some of it we outsource. Yep.
Depending on how far away it is.
Well,
this is all a lot of great tips. Now you have a podcast you do. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So it's Doors to Deals, DOORS, 2 deals, TO deals. And we have a lot of really great guests on there. Joe, we're looking forward to having you on.
Please.
And what we do, kind of a lot of what we talk about, is trying to bridge the gap between agents and investors, and kind of give people both perspectives and talk shop for how do agents start to invest more, investors, what are some things that you can do to level up your game and scale your business. And that's really our kind of experiences, is really doing both, being investor agents. And so that's why we have the podcast that way, is trying to it's funny is there's a lot of the investors pointing their finger at realtors saying, hey, you guys suck. And then there's, pardon my French, Joe, but there's a lot of, and then vice versa, right? And it's just both parties bring a lot of value to the table. There's so much you can learn. I became a better investor when I had a couple buddies I worked as a buyer's agent for. That wasn't really my thing, but my best friend that was the best man at my wedding was like, hey Jim, I need to buy a house. You want to help me? And I was licensed. I got my license to run comps. And when I saw the property through his eyes and saw what he was looking at, and then worked with a couple other friends. It was like, oh, okay, this is helping me with my flips. So there's a lot of value with kind of having a broader knowledge base on that. Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And how many agents do you have in your team now?
Yeah, so we have over 40 salespeople, and yeah, our ops team's about 12 people. And yeah, I mean, truly blessed. Like the things we're doing, like the 600 deals, have nothing to do with me. I'm kind of the idea guy now. I'm able to have the team kind of kick some butt. Like I'm truly blessed to have just gotten some really quality people around me. And
teams are
and
so
Ryan,
important.
yeah, and Ryan, so my business partner, really runs the show on a lot of it too. And yeah, I get to kind of hang out with cool people like you, Joe, and
Oh, well.
have fun. And I'm gonna golf every now and then, and just kind of try and help the team, provide the team value on the business as much as in the business. So
Yeah, it's important to have that more senior person that can really give some guidance. And our team here, they just knock on the door. Even some of the experienced ones, they want to bounce ideas, and it's a very critical role that you're playing. And so, but I will put your podcast info down below so everybody can find you, and then we'll put your contact information down below. And Jim, thank you for coming on today.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Joe.
You bet. And for those of you watching, make sure you check out the video. DM if you have any questions. Give us a like, and if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe.
All right on. Thanks, Joe.
Hey.